Okay, I just tuned up the amp to 2.5. Test this out. Same settings as the S620. Ooh, flubbered that up. Sound like Beanie. Five fingers! So, it was only yesterday that I put out the recording for that song, Born to Be Wild, with the other guitars. Just like I said, use the same settings. Didn't change anything for any of the three. Just to give it a try. You'd never think it was just yesterday. But yeah, it has promise. Has promise. They advertise these Fusion Ts as being kind of like heavier rock machines. These Roswell pickups are, I don't think, in that category. They're, did I measure it? I think I measured it when I was on the bench. Can't remember what they were, but this is not more than 8K, 7K maybe. So they're, yeah, because when they're split, I think it's like 3.5K on both of them. So yeah, they're kind of like low output humbuckers for what they tend to push this guitar as being the heavier rock type stuff. If they had different pickups, like maybe the S620, yeah, then it would be boom. But like the S620 has a 14K or more in the bridge. So yeah, it's different. But anyway, it has promise. I'm curious to know if there's anything in the neck pocket. When I was setting this thing up, I sort of have the impression that the neck is sort of a little bit this way. Have to try to, yeah, it is canted up like that a bit. And I was wondering if the whole thing would be set up a little bit easier if the neck was more parallel, because I have a lot of travel. I mean, some of these saddles I had to ground them out in order to get them to give me the action height that I wanted. So I'm thinking that the neck could possibly use a shim backwards a little bit to possibly give me that vertical travel that I'm looking for over there. But yeah, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I went with the dark pink for some reason, I don't know. I when I first saw these, I was really interested in the silver sparkle. That really caught my eye. Then I went for the fantasy guitar, which is in the mauve sparkle like this. And then when I went to buy one of these, this one was a B stock for $217 Canadian. I mean, you can't find anything workmanship wrong with it whatsoever. So yeah, that bounces okay with the wiggle arm on it. There is a very large cavity. It's a very large cavity, and I've seen people with this cover off, and like it looks like a huge amount of space inside of it, which gives me the opportunity to look at putting another volume control here. So my new circuit does involve a 2-volume circuit with a master tone. Just standard 2-volume pots with only one push-pull switch here and the 5-way super switch. So I'm thinking about drilling a hole in the front of it. Yep, again. I'm taking a look at this bridge setting. Although it works the way it is, I wanted to see if this neck has a forward shim or it needs a backward shim to maybe see if I can get those saddles up a bit. I checked my settings, and under this front edge it's 14 thou, under this front edge is 11 thou, so it's just slightly down, which could be causing this corner to hit before that one. I'd like to be able to even it out, but I think I'm going to have to take the neck off and take a look inside. Maybe try a shim and see what happens. These locking tuners don't have a lot of string on them. They put them through and cut them right off. If there was a little bit extra there, I would not have, I think, as much trouble maybe getting them off and back on. I want to save these strings and use them while I'm doing this work. So let's see how that goes. Oh yeah, that's not bad. So there is no shim in there. It's fairly clean, except for all the maple that's coming out of the holes. A little bit of sawdust back there. I'll have to clean all that up. So let's put that aside for a second and see what that looks like. There it is. It's a bit rough. That's been painted over. It wasn't smoothed out very well. I got to do a little cleanup of the mess that came out of there. Hold on. Well, I cleaned up and now I'm making more mess. I'm cleaning off the back of the heel. I just want it to be flat. Get all the pips out of it. Alright. No more bumps. And apparently more cleaning. I have retrieved all of the things I use for shims, which is cardboards and plastics of different kinds. That came out of acoustic under the saddles. My bag is torn. I better upgrade that one. So I've got a .31 millimeter, 0.12 inches. I cut that for something else some time ago. I've got all kinds of sizes. This one feels like I should go with one of those first. Oh yeah, that came off of here. Before going anything thicker, I've got .017 also, if this is a little bit too much. Or what is it? 17 millimeters. Oh, 0.06 inches, 0.17 millimeters, so it's not very thick, so I'm just going to want to try this one first. There was some rough pips down here in the heel, which would have tended to hold it up a little bit, but not enough to make a difference. It looks a tiny bit straighter. That should be okay. Oh yeah, so that little bit of a shim put the strings right on the neck. So let's bring up the front end, and I have to find the tool that does that. So it's a 3 millimeter, and I want to start by just bringing this side up to meet the 14th thou of the other one, of the other side, and then that'll, okay, there we go. I'm going to use this as my wiggle stick because I don't know where it is. Okay, the bridge is, yeah, it doesn't have enough tension because it's sitting flat. Good thing I have that card in there. So yeah, I think that's the trick. It wasn't really uneven on the bottom. It was just down too much in the front. So now I should be able to do something with the set screws to bring those up. Well, I've got the tension off and the fretboard is pretty straight. I just wanted to try this, and it's overall pretty good, but as I suspected, you can't get a fretboard unless you just finish doing it completely flat. There are minor little rockers like there. All up in here there's minor little rockers. On the treble side there was no issue back here. There is there. For the most part, it is extremely good. The first E is somewhat successful. I have a little bit more height I can put into that string if necessary. So, back to standby for you guys. This is when 3 hands would be really useful. But good thing we have a shoulder. So when you're releasing the front screws, you need to tighten the back screw. Trying to keep the front end straight and level. Okay. And I have tension on that string, which I released a little bit. Having a little buzzing going on here with the D, and I just found out that the nut slot is cut at 14th thou over the first string. That's a little bit low. 18 on the treble, 16 at the most. So, I have to think about it. Okay, gang. After much ado with the bridge, redoing the springs a little bit, I have the action back right there. 3/64 down here, 4/64 up there. No buzzing up and down the neck. I am not going to have to do fret work on this thing. Once I, oh yeah, and the saddles, let's see if I can get you a shot of the saddles. So the saddles, okay, they're not sitting on the base plate anymore. They're all up a little bit in the front there, up off the base plate. So that's a twiddling between the set screws here, the set screw there, and then because of the change of angle and the height, a couple of them had to have the little set screw in the back. There's a tiny little set screw hiding in there as well. You got to undo in order to be able to let it go forward when it's flat. So the wiggle arm, I figured out how that worked too. There is a screw thread in the bottom of that thing, and there's a screw here in the bottom over there which allows you to hold it in, which of course it won't show just there in the light. To hold it down in there, I couldn't figure out why is this not coming out. Well, that's it. And there's a bushing, and then there's another small set screw here to hold it in place, positioned this way on this plastic bushing. So I've got it. I don't think that is it going to screw on there at this point. I loosened the screw in the back. No, she's going down, yeah. Okay, so you can adjust this to the height that you want this way, right? By loosening the screw in the back. So you want to adjust that screw in the back, you're going to need a 2.5 millimeter. Buggers, eh? They could have made them all 2s like they should. They send you the other wrench. If you're using all these as 2s, then the one in the back should be 2. But nope, it's 2.5. So you can adjust this in by screwing it in with the screw in the back. Then you can set the tension up here in the front. So you can just, like, you know, adjust it right about there and let her go. So now I've got a good forward force. I can pull back on it. Although the card is still there, I can pull back on it far enough to make a difference that I don't have to wang it against the body of the guitar. So this corner is no longer a problem. It's now flat because I set them both to 14 thousandths in the front. The shim on the neck worked perfectly. That's exactly what it needed. It now looks like it sits more straight across there. I've set the truss rod back to where I wanted it, and boom, I think all the mechanical work is done. This bridge is quite the twiddler with all the screws that you have to action at the same time. And then once you do that, you got to make sure you get your plate up to where you want it to get the wiggle that you need with the tension of the springs. And so I'm still on 2 springs in here. And then what you do is you chase the tuning. So after you've got a certain amount of tension, you pull this up to pitch. That'll pull the bridge forward. You take a look and you say, yeah, I need it down a little bit more or up a little bit more. You loosen it. If you need it up, you chase the tuning again. And that took a few tries as well, but now that it's there, it's there. And this is quite acoustic as well. All right, she's good. She's good. There might be some small tweaks here and there again later, but she's good. So now it's the change in electrics that I want to do. Okay, so now that I'm finally getting close to this, I want to see what's inside this cavity of the electrics myself. Okay, so one large alpha pot, one not secure, that one's not tight. So one large alpha pot, one push pull. So there's lots of space in this cavity. And I'm thinking I don't have a routing problem with a different height. The base, the bottom end is flat. So all I really need to do is move some of these wires, and I can choose a point right about there to put my third knob, which will be a volume, and those 2 pots would fit there properly, and that can just stay where it is. I'll just snug it up, but yeah, I have to rewire all of that anyway according to my new wiring scheme. And getting the super switch in here, ooh, I hope the super switch fits there, because this pot is quite close and it's a double wafer. Something else I'll have to test, but if there's a problem with it, I'll have to change the large alpha pot to a dime to give me the distance that I need between where the switch is, right there, and up to the edge of that alpha pot. There's one more thing I wanted to say about the inside of the cavity. The workmanship is very nice. One of the best I've seen.